Imagine you have spent your entire life in a dark room. You have never seen the sun, never felt wind, never touched grass. The only thing you have ever known are shadows flickering on the wall in front of you. And you believe, with complete certainty, that those shadows are all that exists. Now imagine someone walks in and tells you none of it is real. How do you react? If you think you would thank them, listen carefully and follow them into the light. You have never understood what Plato was actually saying. Because the people in the cave do not thank the man who tries to free them. They try to kill him. And 2,500 years later, almost nothing has changed. Before we enter the cave, you need to understand the man who built it. Plato was born in Athens around 428 BC into one of the most powerful families in the city. He was intelligent, athletic, and destined for a life of politics and privilege. Then he met Socrates. Socrates was not a comfortable man to be around. He spent his days in the streets of Athens asking people questions they could not answer. Politicians, generals, poets. He would engage them in conversation, and within minutes reveal that everything they believed they knew was built on nothing. He did not make friends easily. But Plato was transfixed. He abandoned his political career and devoted his life to philosophy. He watched as the city of Athens, the supposed birthplace of democracy and reason, put Socrates on trial for corrupting the youth. He watched as they voted to execute him. And that experience, watching a great mind destroyed by people who preferred comfortable ignorance to difficult truth, is where the allegory of the cave was born. Here is the allegory as Plato told it. Imagine a group of prisoners. They have been chained in an underground cave since birth. They cannot move their heads. They can only look at the wall directly in front of them. Behind them burns a fire. Between the fire and the prisoners, people walk back and forth carrying objects. The fire casts shadows of those objects onto the wall. The shadows are all the prisoners have ever seen. So naturally, the shadows become their reality. They give the shadows names. They develop expertise in predicting which shadow will appear next. They build an entire understanding of the world based entirely on what flickers before them. They do not know they are in a cave. They do not know they are in chains. Because to know you are imprisoned, you must first be able to imagine what freedom looks like. Now imagine one prisoner's chains are broken. He stands. He turns around. The firelight blinds him. Everything is disorienting and painful. He wants to go back. But he keeps going. He finds his way out of the cave. And for the first time in his life, he sees the sun. It is almost unbearable. His eyes, accustomed only to shadows, cannot process real light, real color, real depth. But slowly, he adjusts, and he realizes that everything he spent his life believing was a pale, flat imitation of something vast and real. Now here is the part of the story that matters most. The freed prisoner goes back into the cave. He cannot leave the others there. He has to tell them what he found. He stumbles back down into the darkness, eyes struggling to readjust, and he tries to explain what lies beyond. The prisoners do not believe him. Why would they? He is stumbling around, eyes half blind, talking about things they cannot see and have no framework to understand. He sounds confused, dangerous, like someone who has lost their mind. And so they reject him. Plato says that if they could get their hands on him, they would kill him. This was not a hypothetical for Plato. This was exactly what Athens had done to Socrates. The cave is not just a story about ancient prisoners. It is a map of the human mind. The shadows on the wall represent everything we accept as reality without examining it. Our assumptions, our inherited beliefs, the things we were told were true before we were old enough to question them. The chains are comfort, habit, the social pressure to agree with everyone around you. The fire is the illusion of enlightenment. The feeling of being informed because you consume information without ever questioning where that information comes from or whose interests it serves. The sun is truth. Raw, uncomfortable, difficult truth that requires your eyes to adjust before you can see it clearly. And the freed prisoner, the philosopher, the person who asks questions nobody wants asked. They are never popular. They never have been. Let us be direct about what this means for you right now. Your cave is your algorithm. Every piece of content you consume has been selected by a system designed not to show you truth, but to show you what keeps you engaged, what confirms what you already believe, what flatters your existing worldview. You are watching shadows, and the system is making sure those shadows are the ones you like most. Your cave is also your social circle. The people around you share your assumptions, your background, your blind spots. They are not lying to you. They are simply other prisoners, pointing at the same wall. Your cave is the news you consume, the culture you grew up in, the things that feel so obviously true that questioning them seems absurd. Plato's point is not that you are stupid. His point is that everyone is in a cave. The question is whether you are willing to turn around. The first lesson. Most of what you believe is a shadow, not because you are weak or naive, but because that is the default human condition. We inherit our reality from the people and systems around us. Examining those inherited beliefs is one of the hardest things a person can do. It is also one of the most important. The second lesson. Expect resistance. When you begin to think differently, to question things that others accept without examination, you will not be celebrated. You will be dismissed, called arrogant, told you think you are better than everyone else. This is not a sign you are wrong. It is a sign you have turned around. The third lesson. Truth is uncomfortable. That is how you recognize it. If something challenges you, unsettles you, forces you to reconsider something you were certain about, do not run from that feeling. That discomfort is your eyes adjusting to the light. The fourth lesson. Go back for the others. It is not enough to seek truth for yourself. Plato believed the philosopher had an obligation to return to the cave, to teach, to question, to drag people toward the light even when they resist. This is not easy. It was not easy for Socrates either. He did it anyway. Plato wrote the allegory of the cave roughly 2,400 years ago. He could not have imagined smartphones, social media, algorithms that learn your preferences and feed them back to you in an infinite loop. But he understood the principle behind all of it. That human beings will choose comfortable illusion over painful truth almost every time. That the systems built around us, whether they are cave walls or phone screens, benefit from keeping us looking in one direction. And that the most radical act available to any person in any century is simply this. Turn around. Look at where the shadows are coming from, and decide whether the light, however blinding, is worth walking toward. Because it is. It always has been. If this made you think differently about something you believed, subscribe. Next time we go deeper.